What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to Powered by Primus, and in today's video we're going to be theory crafting with Windsweeper. Now, the way I did my last video, some of you guys were like, hey Jamie, we just kind of want to see some deck ideas, some stuff like that. So I'm going to be showing you guys two different decks today that you guys can be running with Windsweeper. One being far more meta, something that you guys are going to see, I would imagine, pretty much on a regular, and then the other one is going to be a really fun deck that I don't want to say I felt challenged to build, but I built, and I'm really excited to be able to show you guys a little more meta and then a little more casual. Now, I don't have Windsweeper in front of me here. This is obviously going to be Sky Shadow that we're going to be talking about, so you guys are going to be able to see Windsweeper on the screen here. Now, Windsweeper comes in as a monster character. Fantastic stats across the board. A plane in both bot and alt mode. Not going to be relevant in, I guess, you know what? No, it could be relevant actually in this list. The other list, it won't be as relevant. Will be relevant in this list, which I think is really cool. And then does have the ability to Zed, does say when he attacks, you get to move 2 damage from Windsweeper to the defender as long as you started with another plane in play. Obviously, we're going to have our Sky Shadow plane here to be able to fill in that space. Sky Shadow does come in as 15 stars. This also is going to be the stratagem, obviously, that does cost 1 star, and it does say that when one of these characters is KO'd, boom, you combine to make big man Mr. Sky Shadow. Bring Ominous in from outside of the game, who's a Pierce 4 head, and then you get to obviously get Pierce 4 in the Titan Master after Sky Shadow goes down. And just has some really cool stuff. The other thing about when you flip over to bot mode for Windsweeper is that when one of your other characters does attack, you get to move 1 damage from that attacking character onto Windsweeper. And relevant in some situations, especially if we get to go second in the list. I have been able to find that that does benefit a decent amount when it does come to that. However, if we go first, we're probably never going to be really flipping. I guess in some matches, we may be flipping Windsweeper to be able to really take a lot of damage off of our Sky Shadow characters and move it over to Windsweeper because you want Windsweeper to have damage on him. It's one of those weird characters. You want to be pinging your own character so you can constantly be moving damage over to your opponent. Really powerful stuff. Now, these two characters obviously coming in here are going to be the Sky Shadow plane and tank. Plane is obviously going to be a plane, range, tank, range. Going to have the same stats across the board, 4, 10, 2. However, one has bold 2 and one has tough 2. So this is really nice because this is going to be a very aggressive deck. So the tough 2 isn't going to be relevant here for some situations. There is a sideboard option that I can talk to you guys about that can get some benefit from the tough side of things here. However, this bold 2 is really nice because we are constantly punching over and over. And this is a really difficult deck for your opponent to get through because it requires your opponent to get so much damage on the board. It's kind of insane. So I can understand a lot of the frustration when it does come to playing against something like this because this is constantly dealing direct damage, constantly pressuring the opponent, and then even after you get to take these little characters down, you get to make Sky Shadow, who gets to come in here. I think it's on this side. And we're going to have 8 attack, 20 health, 2 defense, get bold 2, tough 2, and then when this is combined, you get to do 3 damage to an enemy Autobot. So really powerful. If your opponent doesn't have Autobots, it's still really good because we're coming in with our base of 8, which is absolutely insane. And then when characters do get KO'd, they do get to create their combiner, and you do get to start untap. So you are going to be able to get a swing in with this bad Bama Jamma, and then the bold 2 is really nice. And then obviously when we do come in, we do get the Pierce head. So we are going to be swinging in for about, I mean, you know, 10, 11, Pierce 8. It can get really insane how much Pierce we do get to push out with a Sky Shadow swing. Not to mention, even after your opponent goes through all of that, they still have to deal with a Windsweeper who's constantly throwing damage back at their opponent. So it is very difficult deck to get through. We're going to be talking about this one first, showing off a lot of the cards because there are some cards that transfer from this deck over to the other deck, which is going to be really fun. So we're going to get into the actions here because there's a way more actions in this list than there are upgrades. And the first action going to be coming in here is going to be One Shall Stand, One Shall Fall. Now, this card is absolutely phenomenal for Windsweeper. Normally, I'm not a fan of this card for a couple different reasons. Blank battle icon, right? Deal 3s to myself. Not so much of a fan of it, especially with a lot of the direct damage that is running around right now. Putting 3 damage on your own character could make a huge difference. However, with Windsweeper, essentially this does 1 damage to Windsweeper and 5 damage to an opponent. So it's really powerful. You put 3 on Windsweeper, 3 on any character, and then when Windsweeper swings, you get to move 2 over to whatever character. So assuming you're putting it on the same character you're going into for for attacking. That's 5 direct damage on that turn with this card, and then you only put 1 onto your Windsweeper. So it's really, really powerful. The other thing that can be really nice with this card in this list, because we do have a combiner, another reason why I would like to say that I love this card in here, is if we have to KO one of our characters, let's say our opponent's like really not wanting to push to KO our character, they're waiting for like the perfect turn or waiting for us to tap out before they go for it. This is a really nice way to be able to put 3 damage onto ourselves, maybe KO one of our own for tank or plane, and then we get to hit our opponent for 3 combined, maybe deal 3 more to them if they have an Autobot, and we're still getting a swing. So it can be an insane amount of damage literally out of nowhere with this card. The next 3 coming in here with Wave 5 is going to be this Magnetic Dysfunction Ray. Now this is an orange-black battle icon card. You guys are going to see tons of orange-black battle icon cards for a while. The meta always starts off really orange and then will kind of start to work its way towards blue. I don't know what's exactly going to happen with this wave just because End Hostilities and Belligerents are very real cards, and so it's going to depend on what those cards kind of can do to carry a lot of these decks around. However, orange-black is going to be very, very relevant. Horrible is going to be very relevant. Fanger is going to be very relevant. Sky Shadow is going to be very relevant. So just so you guys are getting a heads up on a lot of this stuff, since I'm playing a bunch of games, I can give you guys a lot of this info. This does do 1 damage to each character and then 1 damage to each Autobot. So if your opponent's on Autobots, again, they're taking essentially like a photon bomb to them, and then you're only taking 1 damage to yourself. So it's really, really good. Also, again, we really want to load up damage onto our Windsweeper for when we do get to swing if we need to. Just a really nice card to be able to just kind of do a bunch of direct damage. Now for the next, and same reason, coming in here, we have Precision Fire, another Wave 5 card, orange-black battle icon. We already talked about that. So this does a choose a mode, do 1 damage to each character in that mode. Now this has a lot of benefits because there's even those times where your opponent is on alt mode and you're in bot mode. Well, this just does 1 damage to them and you're still getting the orange-black battle icon. So you get to really kind of get something better than Zap and Rock Toss. Zap doesn't have the black battle icon and Rock Toss has to have a tapped character. So you really get the best of both worlds when it comes to something like this. But even if we are both like in bot mode and I want to be able to put that 1 damage onto my own Windsweeper, well, guess what? We're essentially doing 2 to our opponent because we're going to do 1 to them, 1 to us, and then we're going to swing and then just move it over to our opponent anyway. So really, really nice card coming in here. Now the next one coming in here, and probably one of the most dangerous cards in this list, is going to be Peace Through Tyranny. Now normally this card is just in there for double battle icons in most situations. However, this has the potential to KO our plane or our tank, to be able to form Sky Shadow and to take an extra turn. So if it happens to be like on the last turn, we're about to go in here and then we're about to get the reset, my opponent's going to go, well, actually I can hit Peace Through Tyranny. I can go ahead and, you know, KO one of these guys, most likely whoever has the most amount of damage on them, so we're not taking an insane amount. We get to combine, which lets us come in here untapped. We get to swing here, and then we get to untap and then swing again. So it is an insane amount of damage. Again, just so much pressure. The fact that your opponent has to KO those characters as fast as possible because this is even just looming over them is really, really important. And if your opponent doesn't respect the Peace Through Tyranny and decides to leave your character at 1, they are going to super regret it if you do indeed, in fact, have this card. Now the next 3 coming in here with Wave 5 is going to be the Camion Crash. Now this is a black battle icon, probably one of the best black battle icons that there are. You guys are going to see an insane amount of this card just kind of all over the place. Deal 1 damage to one of your characters and 2 damage to an enemy. So again, talking about Windsweeper moving damage over, essentially this just does 3 damage to the enemy because you get to put 2 on them, 1 on Windsweeper, then when Windsweeper swings, we get to just ship that 1 damage off. So essentially there's no downside for us to be able to play this. And then again, in all those situations we talked about possibly KOing our own characters, this is really nice to be able to put on our own character, ping our opponent for 2, transform, all that really good jazz. The next 3 coming in here is going to be Fight for Position. Orange-black again. Obviously, you guys are sensing a trend. A lot of really good black battle icon cards are in the orange-black. There are definitely some really good blue-black battle icons. I'll be showing something off here soon to kind of like really push and make you guys feel a little bit better about it. There is going to be space for blue. Don't worry, there will be space. Fight for Position is going to be able to give us access to Bold 2. So obviously, since we're a very aggressive deck, normally you'd kind of go with the Supercharge. However, we really want the black battle icons because these other characters, if we're not suiting them up with upgrades, then we want to make sure that they are ensuring damage. This is also really good against the blue matchup. Orange matchup. It has really a lot of benefits to it. Not to mention when we do get swinging with Sky Shadow, who does have that ominous Pierce forehead, we're going to be getting in for a crazy amount of Pierce. The next two coming in here is going to be Two-Pronged Attack. Now this one is really, really awesome. Again, can benefit because this does require for you to either have a plane or a tank. And again, Windsweeper in bot mode does count as a plane, so late game can do some really cool stuff. We're always going to usually be attacking in bot mode, I'm sorry, in alt mode anyway. I don't think you should really be attacking in bot mode ever, so try not to do that. But this is going to be an orange battle icon, obviously help us out for that attack. It says choose one of your characters. If it's a tank, which obviously we do have our Sky Shadow tank, then you get to do 2 damage. Your opponent has to scrap 2 cards from their hand. So really good against those control matchups. You're going for the attrition wars, trying to have a card advantage fight. You're going to be able to get a big benefit from that. And then if it's a plane, if you choose this or your Windsweeper, then you get to do, your opponent chooses one of their characters and does 2 damage to it. So again, talking about really pushing that direct damage over and over and over, making sure that every turn we are applying pressure to our opponent with direct damage. Now the next two coming in here is going to be Rock Toss. Now Rock Toss is a decent card. I don't know if it's going to end up making it in like the final version. This is definitely a very early version of the list. Man, the sun just went down, so I don't know how bright this is going to be anymore, man. Rock Toss, orange, black, we're really pushing those. Do 1 damage to a tapped enemy. So again, just really nice to be able to hit those tapped enemies, especially since we're going to be sending our Windsweeper into a defender who most likely is tapped. So it's just going to be a really nice way, an easy way for us to be able to push a lot of that damage over and over. Next two coming in here is going to be a Calculated Strike. This is a black battle icon card, and then does give us +2 and Pierce 2 until end of turn. So like even with Big Man, right now we're getting in for 10 Pierce 6. So we start to really push some pretty crazy numbers. And then even with our Sky Shadow Plane, who does have access to Bolt 2, we are most likely going to be doing an even amount of damage. So if we're in for 6, we're usually kind of pushing really big Pierce numbers as well. So really, really nice. The next one coming in here is going to be Counter Espionage. Now this card I've been putting in a lot of my lists is kind of just a one-off. There's a lot of really powerful secret actions out there that can really ruin you when it comes to attacking and all that other stuff, you know, getting rid of your upgrades, you know, stopping damage, a bunch of different stuff. Like Reflect Damage, I think, is a card that might start getting a lot of play. And then I also think that the Hologram Armor from Wave 5, the green battle icon, is going to get an insane amount of sideboard play and possibly just some super solid main board play. Who knows? It does get to stop direct damage, and there's so much of that stuff. Like, I mean, there's one flying around everywhere right now. It's absolutely insane. So Counter Espionage allows us to kind of get rid of some of those things in our way. So when we do go for our swing, obviously we want it to be able to be successful. We want all that really good jazz. So this is going to be able to allow us to get that black battle icon for all the stuff that we need him for, and then the green allows us to pick it up. And then finally, as our last one of, we do have 1 ramming speed, does scrap an enemy upgrade, and this is just designed to be able to get rid of any upgrades that are, upgrades that are really bugging us, that are really causing a bunch of problems, whether it's armors, whether it is those holograms that we talked about, maybe it's a force field, or it's a point defense system, right? I think it's the one that says reduce the attacker's Pierce by 2. If you're going in for something like that, even if it happens to be a couple of just armors that are given tough, whatever the case is, just a really nice way to get those off. And then obviously we want our characters to try to stick around until we want to get rid of them. So with that ramming speed, if our opponent doesn't have any really annoying weapons or utilities, because utilities are a thing now, which I love, you guys can go ahead and get rid of those as well. Now coming in here with our first upgrade, we are going to have the RR Disruptor Blade. This is going to be a black battle icon, nice little weapon, gives us +3, and as long as you flip a black battle icon when you swing, you get to keep it around. So it's a little less damage than a grenade launcher, but it just gets to stick around. And I will tell you what, guess what? We never miss. There's a million black battle icons in the deck. You always get to stick, so. And since we're talking about grenade launcher, might as well have grenade launcher in here, right? It's an aggressive card, it's an aggressive deck, so why not have one of the best orange weapons that there are in the game? You get to get that orange battle icon, and then you just get straight up +4 when it comes to attacking, so super, super strong. The next 3 coming in here is going to be Sturdy Javelin. Now, I think this is the only white battle icon in the deck, so that's my only little bit of concern, is possibly putting in a few in the action slot, but I don't really know. Nothing really feels right. All of this stuff that's in here feels really good, so it's really kind of hard to find a place to cut. All of our characters are going to be ranged characters across the board. So this is going to be a really, really nice card. White battle icon allows us to flip 2 more on attack and or defense, most likely what we want for on attack. And then it does give us, whenever we attack with a ranged character, scrap it and deal 2 damage to an enemy. Again, direct damage, right? We're pushing it, we're pushing it, we're pushing it. But curveball, this one is a really, really awesome one coming in here in the 2 slot, and that is the Static Laser of Ironhide. I was talking with Eric, one of our team members, and he was like, hey man, for Windsweeper, this seems like a really good card. And it was like, oh, you're not wrong, man. You're not wrong. So we put the Static Laser of Ironhide in this list. It is an orange card, so really getting allow us to push that. It is a weapon, giving us +3. However, it says when the upgraded character attacks and is not Ironhide, you get to do 2 damage to it. So you get to attack, deal 2 damage to your Windsweeper, and then Windsweeper just throws it back at the opponent. So essentially, you just get +3 and deal 2 to them. So really, really powerful. And then it also just acts as a really nice way for you to be able to just ensure more damage. Let's say you're going in for an early plane swing here, and before you decide to go in for a big hit, you get to drop this bad boy on there, and then you get to swing in. Yeah, you're taking 2, but now we're getting it for a base 7 bolt 2, so it's a lot of damage. Really, really good stuff. So that one just has a lot of fun interaction just for the list. And then the next ones coming in here are all going to be 1-ofs in our slots. Now, normally I do 1 Enforcement Batons and 1 Bashing Shield in a lot of lists, especially in aggressive lists like this one, orange lists. We are definitely going to be running the 2 of these. Obviously, being able to play this, get a enemy weapon off the table, or same thing, Bashing Shield, get an enemy armor off the table, and then Pocket Processor, because it is such an amazing card. You always want to obviously be drawing so much in this deck because we are constantly playing cards over and over and over. It's not like a more control deck where you're kind of trying to sit back, or a more mid-range, you were trying to gain slow advantage. You are trying to just go ape the entire time into your opponent. Pocket Processor just allows us to draw an additional card at the start of our turn, so we just have more ammo for the guns we are shooting at our opponents. So it's just a really, really strong, really powerful deck. Like I said, this is something that you guys are going to be seeing a lot across the board. Sky Shadow is a very powerful character. He was in my top 10 list for this wave, so I knew automatically that he was going to be a really popular character as well. He does get in for an insane amount of damage. Like I said, it's just so much damage, and then even after your opponent deals with that, then you get Ominous, who gets to come out, who's going to be getting in for like 4 Pierce 4. You end up playing a weapon on him. Like even the Static Laser of Ironhide on here, if you're trying to finish out the game with this guy, he can get in for some insane Pierce damage at the end of the game. And obviously Pierce is just guaranteed damage, right? That's the one thing that is really important about this list, is it's not so much about putting out 15, 20 damage in a swing. It's about putting out even damage and Pierce. So if you're swinging for 7, that's really good, but you want to also be trying to hit for Pierce 7 or dealing 7 direct damage or whatever the case is. You really get to whittle your opponent down with a deck like this, especially if your opponent is on a wider team, where these cards that deal 1 damage to each enemy end up doing a lot more over the course of the game, because obviously they're wider, they just get to do that kind of stuff. So that was the first deck. Now let's go ahead and get into Anticipation Planes. Alrighty, so talking about Anticipation Planes. Now, if you guys don't know how even that started, it started off with Joe from Wreck and Rule, so big shout out to you, buddy, for coming up with this Anticipation card list that really got to do some insane stuff when it came to untapping, playing free cards, and being able to do a lot of stuff. Now, I did chat with him recently about showing off like an Anticipation cards list that I ended up kind of modifying a little bit, and we had a fun conversation about Anticipation Planes, so I started to work with it, and I ended up coming up with this team. Obviously, Windsweeper is going to be our 3rd character here, so just imagine Windsweeper sitting here. Now, Windsweeper does all the same things. Obviously, it's the same character, right? So we're swinging over, moving the damage, all that good jazz. However, we have one difference with this list, and that is going to be our girl here, Slipstream. Slipstream does say when one of your planes attacks, you get to move 1 damage counter from it to the defender. So now when your Windsweeper swings, you get to move up to 3 damage in this list versus 2 damage, which is very relevant because, oh man, we are going absolutely crazy with this list. So it's really fun being able to push all of that. Slipstream herself, when she swings, because it says one of your planes, it does not say one of your other planes. So even when she swings, we are going to be able to do 1 damage to the opponent as well. And then we can flip over to this mode. And it says when this attacks and you flip at least 3 different battle icons, it gets +3 till end of turn. Now I have yet to use it for this ability, but hey, it is there. You never know, we may come into play. And then we have our Sergeant Barricade here. So really awesome. This character has done wonders for me lately. I've really been loving the character, and there's some super solid targets when it comes to blank battle icons in this game. Now more than ever, that really get to synergize. Barricade is going to be a car melee, does have 4 attack, 12 health, 2 defense, and it says when you flip to this mode, you may play a battle card from under this, but you may be wondering how we get a battle card under it, and then it is while we are in this mode. We go up to 5 attack, and we do lose a defense. When this battle, so it's attack and defense, you get to put a blank battle icon from the flipped cards underneath this. So just one of them. So we swing, we reveal a blank, we get to put it underneath the character. It is a requirement for you to put it underneath the character. It is not a may, just because you can't then choose which blanks you want. So it is a little bit of a downside there. However, we have some juicy targets. I'm fine with any of them. And then obviously, if you flip over to this mode, you get to play the card for free. So a lot of fun. This deck is designed around pushing a lot of direct damage and untapping a bunch of times. So Slipstream just makes things really, really fun for moving direct damage. Windsweeper is going to be our primary swinger in this. However, primary swinger, yeah, we're gonna get some comments about that one, right? All right, and then we have Barricade, who's gonna be doing a lot of the attacking as well, getting those blank battle icons for us to really kind of play some really cool, fun, combo-y stuff. So I'm actually gonna put these characters off to the side because I will be revisiting them. Now we're gonna talk about upgrades in this one first, just because there are a few of them, and I really wanna talk about the action, so I'm gonna kind of slow roll myself as well. Now, from the previous list, we have Grenade Launcher is going to be coming in here as a 3 of. This is going to be a more aggressive deck. There's no point in it being a blue base deck because I thought about it and really kind of wanted to go more blue originally to be able to block a bunch, but I didn't really find it blocking a whole lot, so it just made more sense just to kind of try to deal the direct damage and finish characters with how many attacks that we are going to be getting. So we're going to run Grenade Launcher in here as our +4 for our damage. Next 3 coming in here is going to be Power Punch. I actually don't think Grenade Launcher is supposed to go on this list now that I'm actually kind of live doing this and I don't really want to cut it. Pretty sure Grenade Launcher wasn't supposed to be in here. But we're going to let it roll because I like it better than the other option I had. So, yeah, there you go. Some live action there. Power Punch coming in here. Orange battle icon giving us both 3 when it does come to attacking. This is primarily going to be in there for Barricade because when you swing in this mode, you really want to see a blank. There's a few blanks we really want to target. And if you end up whiffing on attack, you're totally okay because you do get the ability to try to do it on defense. Now, most of the time, this is going to be our opponent's only character to attack into. I will talk about that here in just a moment. So we'll most likely see one on defense if we don't see one on offense. But I want to make sure that you guys do get a chance to make sure you see those blanks. So Power Punch is going to be the card coming in there. And the next 3, and the reason behind the name of the deck is going to be Anticipation Engine. Now this is a white battle icon, so helping us out on attack and defense. I think there are some blues in the list. It does say that when the upgraded character attacks, you get to reveal the top card of your deck, and then if it's an action, you may play it. So this is where a lot of the free actions are going to come into play, no pun intended, is from doing a lot of this kind of stuff. We're going to be doing a lot of top of the deck manipulation, a lot of manipulation with the actions and stuff like that, so we're getting really a lot of benefits when it comes to this card. This card is absolutely amazing. I love it. All right. Now, to be able to pair that with something, obviously we're going to be bringing in this data pad here. Now, data pad in this Anticipation Engine are the combo. That is your favorite thing to do in this game. It does say when the upgraded character attacks, you may draw a card and then you may put a card from your hand on top of your deck. So that's where you guys are going to be able to see a lot of this manipulation. Now, also, one thing to note, a rule here that you guys don't know about is that when it, I'm sorry, you guys obviously know about it. Some do, some don't. When you do get to attack, you get to choose the order in which cards proc. So if you happen to have 4 or 5 cards that say when character attacks, you can order them however you want. So what you do in this situation is, let's say we're swinging in here, you get to attack. I have, obviously, one of these, not all 6 of them equipped. I would choose to use Datapad first so I can draw a card, and then you can also put one back on top of your deck. You don't have to, so in case you don't want to, you can put one back on top of the deck and then go, okay, now I'm going to proc Anticipation Engine. Now I play this free action off the top of my deck because Datapad allowed me to put it there. So really, really powerful, really, really fun stuff. And then the last 2 coming in here is going to be Pocket Processor. Now, the reason why Pocket Processor is in this list, besides the fact it's an amazing card, is that we do lose a little bit of draw advantage when it comes to the card list versus the plain list. In the cards list, you run Cliff Jumper in that final slot, so whenever you transform a car from alt mode to bot mode, you get to draw 1. So you get to generate naturally a lot of card advantage just from that. So I wanted to try to replicate it as best as possible by playing Pocket Processor, which can actually have more benefits in the late game, more than the early game, because like turn 1 in the other list, you flip Barricade, boom, you instantly draw, you're instantly swinging, it's really nice. This one you have to wait to play the action, however you're guaranteed a card every single turn once it goes off versus having to always flip. So there's a little bit there, but this is a really, really nice thing. Now you guys may be looking at this and going, wow, that's all the upgrades you have. Well, we are an action heavy deck, right? It's all about that Anticipation Engine. So yes, we are very, very action heavy. So Let me move these up out of the way here, and we can start talking about the actions. Now, the first action coming in here is a 3 of is going to be Peace Through Tyranny. Now, this is primarily in there for the double orange battle icons like we previously talked about. However, this does take advantage of the fact that we do have Barricade. Barricade is the only character that our opponent's going to be swinging into. Again, I'll talk about that here in just a second as to why. However, if your opponent does not finish Barricade, which, by the way, this guy has survived on 1, I can't even tell you how many times. It's quite amazing. You get to really punish your opponent because we're already getting way more swings than our opponent when it comes down to it at the point of the wheel turn or the reset, whatever you want to call it. Peace Through Tyranny to be able to KO your Barricade to get your 2 characters to swing and then to be able to reset and get more swings is really, really amazing. So that's mainly why it is in there, is for the double oranges, but then also we do get to play it. Now we're going to keep the ball rolling with a lot of cards that we did have in the previous list. One Shall Stand, One Shall Fall, and Camion Crash. One Shall Stand, One Shall Fall is a blank battle icon. It is one of your #1 cards that you want to get with Barricade because this just does 6 damage to the opponent. It is a ridiculously insane card. Now, it, again, does 3 damage to one of our characters, 3 damage to one of our opponent's characters. However, with Windsweeper swinging and with Slipstream, we get to move 3 damage from Windsweeper over to an enemy. So we play One Shall Stand on our Windsweeper, One Shall Stand on an opponent, and then, or I'm sorry, an opponent's character, and then when Windsweeper swings, we just ship the 3 over there as well. So it literally becomes 6 direct damage to our opponent. I can't even tell you how many times that I've just completely blown a character out of the water with just this card. Not to mention, you can do 2 in 1 turn, because if you happen to be in this mode, we don't have to flip our other 2 characters. We're only really flipping Barricade, which is very, very important. So if you happen to have one of these in your hand, you get to play this, you deal 3 damage to an enemy, 3 damage to your Windsweeper, and then you get to play one out of your hand, deal 3 damage wherever, 3 damage to that enemy, and then swing Windsweeper, send the other 3 over. It is just 9 direct damage, 12 potentially if you target the same character over and over. No, 3, 6, 9. So it would be 9 damage max if you choose to target the same character with One Shall Stand over and over. Ridiculously insane. So, so good. Camion Crash, obviously dealing 1 damage to ourselves and doing 2 damage to an enemy. This is something we want to do. We want to target our Windsweeper, deal the 1 damage to our character so we can hit 2 to our opponent. Now we're going to get into the reasons. We were talking about the untaps, and oh man, am I so excited. So first off, we have Ready for Action. This is a blank battle icon as well. This is what really is the core of the anticipation cards as well, because it is allows you to untap one of your characters that has 10 or fewer stars. Now the benefit to this one far more than any of the others is the fact that you have Barricade, who wants those blank battle icons. So you get to swing, you get to reveal one of these bad boys, and then your opponent has to attack in a Barricade. Well, on your next turn, guess what? We get to flip our Barricade, which lets us play Ready Action for free. We get to untap Barricade, and we get to swing with him again. So it's really, really powerful. You could also do Windsweeper, because guess what? Windsweeper is 10 stars as well. All of your characters are targetable with this, and then I will talk about something with that here in a second. We then get to play these swap missions. That does allow us to untap our Windsweeper and tap one of our other characters down. And then again, we can send our Windsweeper in for a second swing. Again, throwing that 3 damage at our opponent because they're most likely hitting us for more than 3. And because Slipstream, we just get to keep sending it over and over and over and over. It's so powerful. Truly, truly love it. Now, we're also going to talk about a little bit of a trick here when it comes to setting up the sequencing, because this does confuse a lot of people when I play online. On webcam matches and stuff like that. So let's say, again, you know what, we're just going to leave this on our Barricade because that's what we're going to do. Our Barricade's in this mode. Let's say we're in this mode, and then we do choose to attack. We get to draw a card off a data pad, and then we get to stack it. So I'm going to choose to stack this Ready for Action on top of my deck, right? This is the top of my deck. Anticipation Engine is going to proc, which does allow me to play this. So this does allow me to untap, and I'm still considered swinging because I already tapped, declared my attack, and chose my target. If you do this, this does allow you to get another swing, assuming your opponent is tapped down. Now, if your opponent is untapped after you finish that attack, you just stay untapped, your opponent gets to go, and then you get to go again. However, let's say your opponent is tapped, this is my last character swing, and I'm like, bro, we need to get in there. I get to draw this, put this on top, I get to do that, finish my battle flips, and then guess what? We get to do it again. We get to get in there, and let's let's say I draw another ready for action, we get to do the exact same thing for every single time that we have an untap. We get to do that sequence with these two on the stack. So it's really, really powerful for you to be able to get these multiple attacks. And like I said, it's really, really nice with swap missions at the end of a sequence when our opponent is kind of tapped down. We can potentially move over a bunch of damage. So our opponent hits us for like 8. It's like, okay, cool. So we'll throw our imaginary Windsweeper in here. We get to stack. Ooh, there's a swap missions, tap down, untap. Well, we already moved to 3. Well, guess what? Take another 3 again, on top of attacking with 5 base damage. And then if we do happen to play like a grenade launcher or whatever else, our orange battle icons that we're flipping are also being able to get us more damage. So it is very, very powerful stuff. Now when it comes to the next card, it is Incoming Transmission. It's a really, really powerful card. Orange battle icon card. Does say that you do get to draw 2 cards and then put 1 card from your hand on top of your deck. So if you don't happen to have the data pad, then you can still go for the Incoming Transmission play with an Anticipation Engine put in action on top. Swing, Anticipation Engine will still get that card to proc. So really, really powerful stuff there. Next 3 coming in, and this is a new one with Wave 5, is going to be Scouting Mission. This is a blue-black battle icon card. It does say deal 1 damage to any character. Its owner draws 2 cards. This is really nice to be able to ping your opponent for 1 if you need to in whatever situations. And then also we get to put 1 damage onto our Windsweeper, and then we get to draw 2 and then just ship that 1 damage over to our opponent. Now these next 2 that we're going to talk about are going to be one-ofs. One is going to be counter-espionage and one's going to be ramming speed. The exact same things we talked about in the previous list. And then talking about a couple of blank battle icons. The next one we have coming in here, let me move these over, is going to be Blade Fury. Now this card is absolutely amazing in this list. I've done an insane amount of damage with this card alone. It is a blank battle icon, so it really helps out with Barricade, getting those blanks. It does say one of your characters gets +2 until end of turn. If it has a weapon, instead it gets +4 until end of turn. Sorry. So with it being until end of turn, if we do end up getting multiple swings with the character while our opponent is tapped, that +4 gets to stick around for every single battle, which is really, really nice and really important when it comes to being able to get multiple attacks out. Being able to always have just +4 is super, super solid. And then a card that I love to see come back, I'm trying to make stuff make sense here, is Photon Bomb. Now this is a really powerful card in this list. It is a blank battle icon again. So nice to get with your Barricade. And it does say do 2 damage to each character. So essentially, we get to do 2 damage to everything that does happen. Barricade is kind of left at the mercy of it. Slipstream will take 2. However, when she swings, we get to move 1 over. And then Photon Bomb will just put 2 on our Windsweeper, who just ships it over to our opponent. So it does a lot of damage, and if your opponent is very wide, it's really, really amazing as far as a card to be able to get the damage out there. Like I said, as far as sequencing goes, for this one, I guess I didn't really talk about it in the previous list. Depending on what happens, most of the time our opponent will, if they go first, they're going to hit our plane because we do have little defense. However, and we don't have the tough, right? Especially since they don't know what kind of cards that we're on for game 1. Maybe game 2 they'll mix it up a little bit and go after Windsweeper because we do have 0 defense on Windsweeper. It's fine. We just move the damage over later on, whatever. If we get to go first, we throw the plane for the bold 2 into the character we want to hit because we're getting a bunch of Pierce. If you want to be a little more protected, you could go this route, but I usually just throw the plane first. And then in this one, obviously, we flip our Barricade first, and we send our Barricade in to try to get a blank battle icon card to really start to stack those untaps for these cards. Now, these are both decks that I really, really enjoy playing. I'm having a lot of fun with. Like I said, one is definitely a little more meta when you're trying to turn on the big game, and then this one is going to be just a lot of fun. Believe me, it's really, really awesome to attack with. You know, your Windsweeper two or three times, in one sequence. Like I've gotten to be able to attack with Barricade 2 or 3 times, and then they've gotten to attack with Windsweeper 2 or 3 times before my opponent even gets to untap. So it is really, really powerful. Love it, love it, love it. Having a whole bunch of fun. I really hope you guys did enjoy both of these deck profile videos. I think these are really good options for Windsweeper if he is a character you are looking into wanting to play. Like I said, we have a couple options here. I think there are still an insane amount of other really good characters that you can run with him. Horrible's another good one. There's a couple other characters we can go here. You can even go Trigger Happy and try to constantly be getting back weapons if that's something that you are interested in as well. Really hope you guys did enjoy this, I guess these deck profile videos where we broke down 2 for you guys. If you guys did enjoy them, obviously a like would be greatly appreciated. It shows me your guys' support. And then if you guys are new to the channel, a subscribe would be really awesome so you guys can get access to all of our content as soon as it becomes available, especially right before Wave 5 is about to drop here at the end of this month. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will catch you guys in the next one.